Well, hello, everybody. Welcome. We are always off brand e-commerce simplified. Try to throw a little bag of fun in there. And I am thrilled to get the call out again. Let's call it an old acquaintance. After I think it's been 10 plus years or 10 years or so, got a message from everybody's buddy, everybody's tech evangelist at Amazon, Jeff Cohen, with us. And he said, "Hey, Accelerate, you want to do a recap?" And I said, absolutely. Welcome to the program. Although you've been kind of on before, Jeff, welcome to the time. This is actually real Jeff Cohen live.
Yeah, not pulling lines from me from other things. So great to be here. And I was actually hoping, I know the timing didn't work out. You weren't in Seattle, but I was hoping you'd be at the show because I know that, I've bumped into you in Seattle numerous times.
Yes.
And excited to be here and share with the audience.
Fantastic. Well, we got to get right into it. I mean, we could chit chat about old days and talk about all the things, but first of all, and I said this before we hit record, I just want to make this public. I really, as I call lovable nerds, our Amazon ecosystems, 18 years, I think I've been in this thing. I appreciate so much. I just want to say this. I appreciate all the great work you do, all the community building, all the knowledge and education. It's phenomenal. I don't believe they had a role like yours before. I'm not sure, but it's truly, and I mean that. I've said that to you off the air.
Well, I'm blessed, and I've been blessed to be part of this community for so long. And I think the Amazon job was a dream job for me because I was doing this at my last company. I always like to say, like, I came to Amazon because I believe in what Amazon's doing, what it does for sellers and brands, and how the ad products work. Nobody, all opinions are my own when I share them. And yes, like Amazon has messages that they want to share, but in reality, like this is what I have believed and followed for a really long period of time. And I guess, I appreciate that it comes off authentically because it's delivered authentically.
Oh, it's fantastic. So Amazon Accelerate, which I don't even know how many years Accelerate's been going on. I don't believe it's been that many, but this one, and I'm sorry, just a timing thing. I was in New York, and I'm bummed, but I usually, because community, I get to see all my friends, all my colleagues, the industry. I love it. They come to my hometown. We hang out. It's fantastic. Yeah. So let's start with that. I've been talking about, anybody who listens to Always Off Brand, I've been talking about what I believe. This is my, it's like another layer of the flywheel. It's content, advertising, and logistics. And there were some big time announcements. And I know you're the tech evangelist, and you were there. If that's a fair statement by me, okay, layering it into the current flywheel that is brilliant. What are the big things coming out of Accelerate that kind of speaks to that?
Yeah, Amazon's done a great job of really aligning a lot of their announcements with, on the retail side with Accelerate and on the advertising side with Unboxed. And it doesn't mean there's not other announcements that are coming throughout the year, but this is really where they try to like really kind of give you the big wow. And so I would say there were really three big themes within the announcement. So theme number one was around logistics and shipping, and really Amazon's end-to-end capabilities from manufacturer all the way to FBA, including the launch of a new drone system that they're going to be testing called MK30 that's going to do 1 hour delivery. I actually looked into getting an Airbnb close to that facility because I want to go down and be one of the first people to get the drone delivery.
Would be awesome.
Right. I'm an Amazon nerd at heart. The second one was about a lot of the advancements around Buy with Prime. Buy with Prime was launched about 2 years ago. And I think they had over a dozen announcements that ranged everything from faster shipping times to integrations with TikTok and PayPal. And then the third one, which is not surprising, is around AI. And the AI covered some updates around advertising as well as updates to new tools that are available to sellers, both in the ad console and via the API, trying to make things better for all of us as sellers within the community to be able to access and get answers quicker and faster. get access to more information so we can make better decisions with what we're trying to do. And, I'm the first to say that Amazon, we can be critical of ourselves, but I think Amazon has come a long way with everything that they're sharing. And I know that this community always wants more, and I'm happy to kind of hear what more you want. But I thought there were some really big moves forward with some of the AI that's come out around product listings, around A+ management, around what's called Project Amelia, which is a selling coach. And I think one of the really like big drops that they had that didn't get a lot of play was around what they're calling the next generation of Seller Central. And Amazon is really kind of rethinking Seller Central from the ground up. And they, shared a beta sandbox that you can go in and start to see like what the future of Seller Central is going to look like. So lots of cool and exciting announcements. And what I like to tell people is that the announcements are sometimes they're like really early beta, sometimes they're still conceptual and they won't even be out for a few months. And so you have to kind of pick and choose which of these you want to follow and keep up with over time. Because it's not like everything's available today. Go try it. Like most of us want to do because we just get so excited.
Okay, that's a lot. Let's break this down a little bit. Now, let's start with Buy with Prime, because I have been the great team at Amazon, Buy with Prime team, reached out to us. Quickfire, our little agency, is technical. We've walked some clients through that. The minute I had that thing, Jeff, I was like, my brain was blowing up, because I go, this is a game changer. This is so big. This is unbelievable. And we've had testing through iteration. In classic, what Amazon does a phenomenal job of is they bring this stuff out, they learn quickly, they constantly improve it. And I'm telling you, this thing, and a lot of people, and I sent you in the message, people aren't even talking about the advertising, unbelievable opportunities here. But let's dig down a little deeper on Buy with Prime. They made some huge announcements regarding that. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, for people that don't know what we're talking about,
Oh,
Buy with
that's good. Good
Prime
call,
is a
Jeff. Good call.
Buy with Prime is a tool that Amazon has for your D2C site.
Yeah.
So on your own consumer website, if you have your products in FBA, you can offer Prime as a shipping option, which means they get the little Buy with Prime badge. It's shipped and delivered within Buy with Prime, times, 2 days, 5 days, whatever that product, happens to be. And you're also giving like the A to Z guarantee that you get with Buy with Prime. So it adds a lot of authenticity to your direct to consumer site. And you're right, like it's a newer program, but it's evolving quickly. If I really break down the drops around Buy with Prime, I put them into like three main categories. So the first one, which I thought was really big, was around delivery estimates. So delivery estimates are on your site being able to see like not just the Prime badge, but when you're going to get it. So one of them was that if you have products that are both merchant fulfilled and maybe coming out of a different warehouse, we were only able to show Buy with Prime if everything was Prime. We now can show dynamic delivery on your site so that if one is coming out of one location and one is coming out of another, you can still see the delivery for Prime. That's big. The other is delivery estimates being integrated into Google Shopping ads. So if you're now running Google Shopping ads, you can see delivery estimates. The other was TikTok ads. This is allowing you as your D2C site to run ads and have the Prime badge. And when they click on the ad, they're coming to your site and they're using Prime as their delivery method. And what they're finding across this data is that it's leading to, a higher percentage of sales because
Oh,
people are trusting of that Prime badge. So that's, I think, a really super exciting offering. The second is around operations. So they've created a lot of operational efficiencies that they are now able to increase the speed for standard delivery by more than 40%. And they've done this all without raising the prices to the merchant who's selling. And then the third is around advertising and I'll say other integrations. And so One of those is being able to do ad targeting through the Amazon DSP and utilizing Buy with Prime on their direct to consumer website.
Can we
And this
just
is
stop there? Sorry.
yeah,
That is listener, watcher. We're now on the YouTube. I'm telling you, that is am I overstating this? Am I over exaggerating how big this could be? I close my eyes in 3 years and I'm like, this is such a massive thing.
yeah. I mean, I think there will be first mover advantage of people who get in and test this and really see what it does. But the Amazon DSP
Oh,
works off of a whole set of signals. So being able to have the signals directly related to your Buy with Prime products as well gives you even just more data signals to find additional audiences,
oh,
and to reach more potential shoppers. And so yeah, I mean, if you to really layer it in, if you start measuring all this with Amazon Marketing Cloud, you can start to see when you're running those ads whether they're going to your D2C site or whether they're coming to Amazon to make the buy, and you have a better understanding of what that investment looks like.
sorry. I know you were on a roll and I interrupted you. I
No, it's
apologize for
fine.
that, but I cannot emphasize it's not. And this is when I first was introduced to Buy with Prime and the concept. I just my mind. I'm just going. And you know what? A lot of people haven't talked about the advertising portion
Yeah.
of it yet. It hasn't gotten mass adoption. I think that's just a tremendous, tremendous thing. So go on as
Yeah, I mean,
I rue the
Amazon has a
role.
lot of technology now around um, merchants who aren't selling on Amazon but can use Amazon's advertising to drive traffic to their site. I mean, that's another whole like episode we could do on different
It's
ways to
totally.
target through the DSP. But you're right, like all of this goes back to making Prime a product, right? And that's, I think, what it I always like to say, like, what are the themes? Well, the theme is that Prime is a product at Amazon, right? And so we saw this, we'll say a year ago, we saw this with Prime Video, right? That Prime Video was becoming a product for Amazon advertising. Well, now you're seeing Prime becoming a product. And so one of the other announcements that's not with Buy with Prime, but it's around Prime in general, is that, you know, if you are if you are selling products and shipping them from your warehouse, Amazon will come to your warehouse and pick up your product and drop it into the Amazon system for delivery. And they're able to do that at a cost that's competitive or sometimes better than their competitors in the space. And so it's another kind of signal that like Prime is a product. And as a direct to consumer merchant, you have another option, right? You only had two or three options before. Now you have a fourth option. And again, when you start to put that all together with the Prime badge that can help the seller be more confident in the purchase that they're making, all of those things start to triangulate back to just a better customer experience. And that's ultimately what we build for.
Unbelievable. So yeah, I'm fired up about Buy with Prime and all the different aspects that it brings in and everything else logistics that they're doing.
Yep.
Um, but again, you guys are constantly coming out with stuff. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The other kind of theme, I guess, themes. I'm picking up on your themes, Jeff. I'm going to theme your theme. Okay, because again, now this is my age, and this is you and I share experience. You were on the third party side way before I was.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. But what is amazing, if you look at the evolution, which I think is so cool and amazing, is for many years, right? It was the own ecosystem. It was inside. It was driving all the data, everything for Amazon, inside Amazon. Now they're going out. You just talked about it. TikTok, Google, they're making all these great things. Can you accelerate? Talked a lot about it. You kind of highlighted that, but can we
Yeah.
dig just a level deeper on that about how they're giving people, merchants, sellers, an availability to use great Prime products and great things? Talk about that.
Well, listen, you've got to meet the shoppers where they are. Like that's just the reality of the market, right? And I think that I don't think it means, I don't read. One big thing I've learned since I started at Amazon is I've stopped trying to read into things. And,
Yeah.
one of the big things I did before I was at Amazon is like, oh, well, what does this really mean? And what are they trying to do? And all these other things. And I'm like, You don't need to do that. Like it's more of like, what's the reality of the situation? How are customers finding products? How are customers wanting to be served? And if you're customer centric, you're placing yourself where the customer is. And I think that's what Amazon's trying to do in these instances. And they're great partnerships. And it's great to see partnerships with companies like PayPal and Shopify and TikTok and Google. And I mean, personally, I don't know that I would have seen them announced at a show 2 years ago, right? So it is showing an evolution of Amazon in understanding where are shoppers at, how are shoppers shopping, how do they want to be engaged, and what does Prime or what does Amazon offer in that relationship that can be beneficial to make a better customer experience and make a better seller experience for the brand. And I think that's what they're trying to do. I'm not on the retail team, so I don't have any
No,
insights into
right,
any of that, but that's
right.
how I read it.
No, I agree, and I think it's because it goes back. You make a good point. Okay, learn something, Scotty. Scotty O, just take it easy now, because it's my job. I sit on the sidelines, right, as a fan, and try to sit there. What does it mean, or where are they going? All that stuff. We get caught up to it. I admit it. I
Yeah.
raise my hand. Okay, I do, because I think it's fascinating, and what makes it fun after all these years. But you're right. The next thing I want to keep it going here. Accelerate 2024 was big. The visuals, there's actually some cool stuff. People, I want to also say that in preparation for this, people have done tremendous, great recalls, recaps. There's been a great coverage of it. So there's a lot of people doing that. Let's talk about AI. Now, I'll admit this, people listen to the program. Okay. I'm seasoned, as we like to say. I'm seasoned, okay? And I like AI. I'm into it. I can see all the amazing, incredible things that are going to do. I do. And I actually use it. We use it for I use it for video editing. I'm actually using it. But Summer gives me a hard time about I'm a little, hesitant. But that said, as I just said before, once Amazon comes out with something, they learn quickly, they got it going, and I'm not here. I'm going to ride the wave. So can you talk about the AI announcements that accelerate that you kind of brushed again over, as far as Amelia and all these other things, which I'm fired up for. I'm in.
Yeah. I've really evolved my take on AI over the last year and a half, which I think most of us have because it's only a year and a half old, right? So nobody can really be an expert more than that. And I have kids who are in high school and college, and I encourage them regularly to use AI. I think there's a lot of positives that AI can have. And I think in their world moving forward, it's going to be critical for them to understand what it is and how to do it. As a side note, somebody took my LinkedIn recap of Accelerate, ran it through an AI program, and created a 20-minute podcast. And all that they used was my recap. Now, I don't agree with everything that they said because they kind of added some of their own interpretation to things. So it's not like, hey, this is Jeff Cohen. It was just kind of like using my content. But I was fascinated by the idea that you could do that. And I was
Wait,
like, wow,
I
that's
am talking to Jeff Cohen, right?
right.
Just
This
as
is the real thing. When it comes to AI, the biggest thing that I've learned over the last like 3 months, I met with our head of our creative that runs all of our AI within Amazon Ads. And what he said, I did an event with him over the summer, is that um, what you see today will be the worst of how these products work, and they will only get better.
Yeah.
And I looked right at him and I said, did you just call your baby ugly? And and then I realized that I had just said that to like one of our vice presidents, and I probably shouldn't have. And what he said made a lot of sense, which was that AI, by its nature, is a learning program and
Yeah.
it will only get better. And I think, again, we have a tendency within this industry to see something and want it to be perfect when it comes
Yeah.
out. And so we go out and we test something and it doesn't do what we wanted it to do. And therefore, all we do is be like, well, I tried to make a dog and it gave the dog a fifth leg. Well, if you read about AI and images are really hard to do.
Yeah.
And so you're not supposed to use people and you're not supposed to use pets, right? But if you're trying to get your product to sit behind a beautiful sunset on a picnic in the Nevada, landscape, well, man, it can knock that out of the park. So you have to use AI for what it's intended, and you have to understand that AI will get better over time. So with that as like a caveat, I'll go through some of the updates. So the biggest update from Amazon Ads was that we launched an AI video generator. This is going to allow you to pick your ASIN, and literally you just pick an ASIN, and within a couple of minutes, you will have a full video. Now you can do some minor editing of that video, but it's giving you multiple options, and it's doing things like reading your title, descriptions, and reviews to understand what is the product, how's it used, what does it need in this video to tell the right story, and then it tells that story. Very cool.
Very cool.
Um, the other thing we released was a live image capability, which allows you to just take your static image and have the Kindle have a glow to it, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not full video, but it's like some light motion. Um, Again, we talked about Project Amelia, which is a selling assistant coach that is designed to really be an expert and help you by asking it questions and guidance on managing your business and what you need to be doing on Amazon. The other AI was around product listing improvements, and the ability to upload like text and an image or a URL from your brand website and have that convert everything into all of the product attributions and things that you need within Amazon.
Now
Um,
that's gonna change some people's lives.
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Once that get that would be an amazing. That is. I'm a little excited about that one, Jeff.
Yeah, and again, like the first time you do it, it might not be right, and you might
Sure.
need to make some tweaks and changes. And I haven't played with it myself, so I don't know. But like, it's a huge step forward for people who have large catalogs and need to bring new products to market on a regular basis. And it's not to say you shouldn't still do keyword research and things like that, but it's to say you can get 80-90% of the way there using the AI.
And I just want to. We've used with clients the creative, the AI creative, the static creative. It works brilliantly. It's beautiful. If we had a particular client, again, you don't have all the right imagery at the right time, what have you. We've used it. It did a great job. So I'm thrilled. It's
Yeah, and
going to work out.
it allows you to be more seasonal. It allows you to
Yes,
go into what we call micro seasons. So you can have different images for back to school than you can have for Halloween, than you can have for for the holiday season, which is cool.
it's great. It's
The other one that I'll mention, I won't go through all of them, but the other one that I'll
yeah.
mention seemed really interesting, and it's kind of a coming down the road. So I had mentioned that some of the stuff is live and some of the stuff is coming down the road, but they're creating a new customer analytics and insight dashboard. And it's an ability to get metrics from across your business: sales, traffic, inventory, and ad performance, all into one interactive like dashboard location within Seller Central. And very again, like the images that they showed, very cool. It's allows you to kind of customize that look and feel to what you're trying to do for your business. And I think it addresses one of the challenges that Amazon has had, which is that there's a lot of information, but some of it's buried in different places, and you want to see this stat with this stat in this chart. And it seems like this tool is going to let you kind of start to marry those things together in ways that are most representative of the way you look at your business.
We all dream of just opening our laptops and seeing our business on one dashboard, right? And I agree, because if you understand how Amazon is built and the DNA of how these teams are and everything else, it all makes sense to you. But yes, I saw a little snapshot of that. I saw some things on that. Again, I'm very bullish on that as well, because yeah, we're constantly putting things together, trying to make a meal. And so if they can help us do that, I think that's outstanding.
Yeah, and a lot of the other updates that they talked about were updates from last year and kind of like how those updates have evolved over the last year. And so those are, I think, still critical things for sellers to be aware of, like Project Emerald, which is the alert system within Seller Central, where third-party apps can actually build alerts within Seller Central to give you the information that you maybe had to go to their app for, but now you can actually get at inside Seller Central. And so there's a lot of like continued innovation that comes. And that's why I kind of gave that warning at the beginning. That's like, hey, these are the big announcements, but then they will, like you said, they'll be iterated on over time, with the end product really being an evolution. And that's one of the lines I love to use since I came to Amazon, which is like, Amazon doesn't do a lot of things that are revolutionary. They do a lot of things that are evolutionary. They're
100%.
constantly pushing and evolving. And the revolution is like something new and exciting, but it's like Thursday Night Football is a great example of revolution, right? Moving into live sports, but then all the iteration of live sports that Amazon has done since then just continues to build upon that initial big announcement.
Can I make a plug? I did an entire episode just singly on all of the rights, the property and the live sports media rights that Amazon has done throughout the world. We hear about, like, again, NFL is so big and that is massive, but I mean, we could go on.
Cricket, right?
Oh,
Premier League,
oh,
F1. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And I do get visibility into a lot of that because a lot of the country leaders will hit me up, and because they, the country leader in France wants me to know that Prime Video also has the French Open, right? Like,
yes.
yeah.
And actually been a lot of great pub right now. We're heading into NHL season, so
Yep.
Amazon Prime
Canada.
Video in Canada, that's a big deal. Again, I mean, this is Accelerate, and that's kind of, well, is there anything else that before I get into the last kind of the
No,
somewhat
I think those are the really big announcements that kind of came out of the show. There's also, like, I'll call them mini announcements that end up happening in some of the breakout sessions, which are really hard to follow. But I would agree with you. There was a lot of really great coverage on LinkedIn. And I remember 2 years ago going to the show, and I was one of the only people on LinkedIn talking about what was happening at the show. And now there's a lot of people, which is fantastic. And I always like to say, like, it kind of makes my job easier because I don't have to actually do that anymore. I just let other people do it.
No, it is nice. And we'll wrap it up with the people, because I say it at the end of every show, people matter. And one of the coolest things about how Accelerate has evolved is just the community and the people. It's just a meeting center, and you get to meet all these people that you might have only known through a Zoom box or whatever, the Google box, whatever it is. So it's so fun to see the people together, and that's where real business happens. Okay, you from Unboxed is coming up in October.
Yep.
From all the stuff that Accelerate, because it hits all these different things, from logistics, the incredible Amazon warehouse and distribution announcements. We got supply chain stuff, which I think I'm really fascinated on, because I just see that turning and all the great advantages and opportunities. From an ads perspective and rolling into Unboxed, is there something you take away from Accelerate and go, okay, yeah, this is setting the table, or this or we already talked about it all? I don't know. Maybe we've
No,
covered.
I mean, listen, I can't give any insights into what those announcements are going to be, but I think one of the interesting things about Unboxed and Accelerate is the um I'll say the lack of, or the small overlap of the audiences that attend. And it's a lot of the fact that, like, the brands are sending their seller representatives to Accelerate, and they're sending their brand representatives to Unboxed, because Unboxed is more of the advertising brand side of the equation. Um, Overall, it's super. Both of them have super high quality attendees. Some of the best brands, challenger brands, as well as enterprise brands in the world are attending these. I think that, what you're going to see coming out of Unboxed is more innovation around what do you do with all these signals that Amazon has. And I think you had talked about specifically the properties around live sports. And I think it's fantastic, everything that they've done with live sports. Um, it's also like all of the properties that Amazon owns, and how do
Yeah.
you use those to do brand building? And I think that's going to be the big story that really comes out of Unboxed this year, is how are brands using more than just performance-based marketing to build brands? And I think that for any of us who have been in this space for a long period of time, say more than 3 to 5 years, we've gotten
Yeah, you make me
really
feel really old, Jeff. Thanks a lot.
well, but like if you're new to the space in the last 3 to 5 years, you look at things differently. And if you've
Yeah.
been here for more than say 3 to 5 years, you still have a very ACOS, tacos,
Yeah.
ROAS
Yes.
opinion because that's all Amazon really offered in terms of metrics for measuring advertising success. Is everything was based on last touch attribution. As Amazon has moved into more upper funnel opportunities through Prime Video, through Wondery, through Amazon Music, through Fire Television, and everything else, as well as the third party supply that Amazon has access to, you have to look at advertising in a different way. And you have to see, a term that we use internally a lot. What's the downstream impact of the ads? What's the overall value of incrementality that when I run video ads, I open myself up to a bigger pool, and X% of the people who end up buying from me from a sponsored product ad also saw one of my video ads. And so the video ads or the Prime Video ads or the audio ads or whatever, the Twitch ads, whatever it else is that you're running, you have to be able to measure them in a way that's demonstrating the oversized or expanded reach, and then the incrementality that it's driving. And that's a big shift of mindset from how people have looked at Amazon. The other big shift of mindset of how people have looked at Amazon goes to the conversation we were having with Prime, with Buy with Prime, which is that Amazon advertising is now available for sellers who don't sell on Amazon. So if you have a local business, if you have a D2C but you don't sell on Amazon, if you're selling insurance, I'm just making cars, like you can now use Amazon signals to attract and find new potential buyers and shoppers for your product. And that's, I think, a pretty big evolution of Amazon advertising as well. And I think a big theme that you'll hear coming out of Unboxed.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. It's just nonstop. I don't know how you keep, I mean, there's no one person can keep up with it, and that's why we rely on all of our colleagues and all our friends and our
Yeah.
network to make sure that they're alerting us for things. Uh, so
Well,
much
I don't
fun.
think you have to keep up with it all, right?
No, no, you don't.
You'll drive yourself crazy trying to
Yes.
keep up with it all. I think it's a matter of where are you at in your business today, and what can help you get to the next level. And the biggest message I've been driving to people is that if you're still thinking about Amazon in the way you thought about Amazon 3 years ago, you're limiting your brand's growth. And then it's a
100%.
matter of okay, I can open that up. Now, how do I start testing to see what else I can do and how that can impact the audience that I'm trying to reach?
What I think is just super interesting as somebody who's inside somewhat, I mean, I've not worked for Amazon. Been around it for so long, is on the advertising alone, Jeff. On the advertising alone, I've said since 2018, I spoke at a conference and I'm like, people don't understand what's about to happen here. And for enterprise, mid-market, challenger, small business, what is about to occur in the next 18, 24, 36 months and the ability to advertise, I think is going to blow people away. I think it's
Yeah,
I think
and I'll
it's
add one
amazing.
piece to it and measure the impact.
Yes, right.
Right?
Right.
That's
I have a word
because
for
ultimately
attribution.
that's where we're
Yeah,
if we're gonna win, right? I'd like to believe we will, but if we're gonna win because you can measure the impact. And
100%.
that's where really good brands and really good tech and really good agencies are doubling down right now, because that's what you have to be able to do to go back to ask for more budget, right?
Yes. Yes. I'm gonna leave a lot of my opinionated stuff out of here, but no, I agree because we all understand the challenge. This isn't Amazon. This is just digital advertising. This is advertising, right? Attribution is tough. It's
Yes.
tough. And there's a lot of thank goodness at Amazon and everything else, a lot of really smart people have been working on this for a long time. And I think we're getting closer and closer to
Well, when I
getting
launched my first website in 2002 or 2003 and was running email campaigns, attribution was tough, right? Like, so it's like these aren't new problems. We're just applying the same problem to different and that's where I personally I've always said that like attribution is more about understanding benchmarks, maybe it's establishing benchmarks,
Yeah.
understanding them, and then measuring yourself against them. And people always want us to tell you what the benchmark is, but you as an agency or them as a brand have to kind of figure out, well, I'm currently doing X, and if I do Y, I'm doing better or worse. And it goes back to really early concepts of always be testing
Yeah.
and measuring the impact of the results and understanding that test fail. None of that has kind of changed. We just have to apply it. And personally, I think a lot of it goes back to the fact that like sponsor products was easy, right? Like you created a campaign. Amazon did a lot of it was AI, it was doing a lot of the work for you, and it was delivering ads. Well, when you start to get to more, I'll call them complex ads. The ads aren't any more complex, but the way to measure them are more complex. So you have to understand what the signals are that are demonstrating that those ads are being effective.
Well, the path to purchase is more complex.
Yeah.
So we have to do that. We have to figure out that way. And what I've been talking a lot about recently is and this is what you have talked a lot about. You hear it all the time, right? If your organization, whatever the size is, you're trying to measure the effectiveness of your advertising, and you talked about all the KPIs, the ACOS, all those things. Now they have to think more like media buyers. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that I think the psychology, the philosophy, the metrics, the language actually even used has to evolve
Yeah.
into thinking bigger and more like a media buyer, more through all higher funnel impressions, clicks, activities.
Yeah, it's the blending of brand marketing and performance marketing,
There you go.
and they used to be very siloed, and I think the future is having them very integrated. And I think larger brands that have different people who run each of those are finding that when they can actually work together, they can be much stronger. And I think I'll say challenger brands who maybe aren't as sophisticated as that are take a little bit to learn um, how you actually use brand building to drive performance. And the challenge as a speaker, when I go on stage and I talk about a brand like Hero Cosmetics, or I talk about a brand like Elf Beauty, is that it's really easy for people in the audience to say, but I'm not Elf Beauty. I'm not Hero Cosmetics. And what I always challenge them to remind them of is that they weren't either before they put these tactics into place.
Great point.
And like, so when you look at I'll call them the enterprise brands today that you want to take share of shelf from,
Yeah.
you have to take a challenger type of approach. I'm not going to give you any insights, but I'm
No,
getting deep
don't.
into this
Please don't, Jeff. Whatever you don't give me any insights. No
well,
actual insights are available here.
that I'm actually at Unboxed. I'm going into this, and my
Oh,
presentation at Unboxed is going to be with the company Poppy, and we're going to talk about like. And just to give you a slight tease, is
hey
that
now.
2 years ago they weren't doing anything with streaming television on Amazon, and like now they're sponsoring the WNBA, and it's easy to look at them and say, "Oh, but they're Poppy," but at the end of the day, like it's how they got there that should propel the next brand that's sitting in the audience and listening to that story to say, hey, that's what I want to do. I want to aspire to be them one day. And that's
Absolutely.
that's what I think is cool, is that they're an Amazon first brand. They've always been an Amazon first brand. It doesn't mean they don't sell on other channels. It means that they've used Amazon to accelerate their growth. And that's, I think, awesome that somebody can take this small business concept idea and blow it up to become an enterprise brand, through the tools and technology and opportunity that Amazon has.
That's what I tell a lot of people, and I've been lucky and privileged and to be part of using Amazon as a brand builder, as
Yeah.
a great brand marketer. That's the most fun part.
Yep.
So fun. All right. Thank you so much for stopping in. Thanks for stopping. I feel like you just kind of walked on by and stopped in, and just we got a great Accelerate recap. You laid a little juicy nuggets there for Unbox. Help everybody. It's sold out at the time we're recording this. It's sold out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
uh,
Don't, if you hit me up, the answer is no, I don't have any tickets. So it's probably the number one question I got asked at Accelerate. Can you get me a ticket for Unboxed?
I had people asking me. I'm like, I
Well,
don't.
here's what I would say, Scotty O. Follow me on LinkedIn, and when I
Yes.
put a post up and I say that Unboxed tickets are about to sell out, guess what? They're about to sell out.
Hey, it's always been great. We've always been, you always been great to me over the years, seeing you here and there. I can't thank you enough. Obviously, if you don't know Jeff Cohen, if you're not following on LinkedIn, I don't know what you're doing. We'll put all that in the show notes. Appreciate it. I'll just wrap it up. We always say it, always off brand. Why do we get to meet and talk to all these amazing people? Because people matter. That'll do it from here. Take care.
Hey there, this is Haley from Quickfire, and they want me to read this so you know what this podcast is part of and how to find out more if you want. Always Off Brand is a production of Quickfire LLC and a part of the Learn and Laugh series on the Quickfire Podcast Network. For more information, go to quickfirenow.com. Have a good one, and thanks for listening.